Yes, this is me. This is indeed me. This is not a false alarm. This is not a clickbait. This is indeed me, Somspur, myself, and I am returning back to you with some PSL content after a long time. So, if you did not know, you already know this. Like, I've been pretty much off YouTube for a long time now. And it's mostly because of real life stuff. Basically, work and life got too much to handle at that point for me to continue doing YouTube on a consistent basis. I think I stopped. I think my last video was my PSL week 3 match against Aero, which I won 6-0. But yeah, for a short update, I did make playoffs in season 5. I went up to the semi-finals where I lost to Lord Zoroark. It was a really tight match. It really came down to him having an unexpected set, which I just did not think he'd run. It actually came down to him not running a move, not running a certain stab move on a Mon, which I expected him to run. That's what Mons is like. But anyway, yeah, that's not why I'm here for today. Today I'm going to be analyzing all the drafts in the what's it called, PSL season 6. Was it the division? Yeah, it's Black Division. Basically this time we are having more coaches than last time. We had 24 last time, we have 28 this time, so it's basically 14 on each division. And for the first time I will not be playing in this season of the PSL because, as I said, like, real life is too much for me right now to consistently invest in a competitive league for the upcoming 3 months or so. Having said that, I will not bore you with the details anymore. I will just jump into the team analysis. I am not sure if I'll be ranking them as such. Mostly I'll just be rambling on these teams because I don't have any pre-made thoughts on them, because yeah, to be honest, my involvement with PSL this season has been minimal, to say the least. Like, it's been absolutely zero. Not absolutely, but yeah, pretty much zero. I mean, I influenced a few drafts here and there of some of the coaches, but yeah, other than that, I've been minimally involved this season. So for most of these drafts, I'll be going through them for the first time. So most of my thoughts on these teams will be off the cuff. Most of them I'll just be commenting on for the first time right now. So, and yeah, and again, just as I said, like, I may or may not be ranking them, which I'm not sure if I'll do. If I rank them, I'll probably leave the rankings in the description, or I'll find some other way of doing those. So, okay, let me just sort this out a bit. Okay, no, this looks better. Yeah, this does look better. Can I increase the size and get away with it? I probably cannot, I think. Does this look better? Yeah. It covers all the mons. So yeah, anyway, so we'll start off with the first team, which is the champions, the AZSL Falkmar, coached by NARD. And yes, NARD did win the championship in back-to-back seasons, and he did become the first coach to actually defend his title in PSL. So yeah, big props to him on that. So typically we had this reward for the winning coach that he'd get to franchise him on. But after looking at Nard's team last season, like, he got a franchise pick and he got a pretty high round 1 pick as well. So he ended up getting both Mega Latios and Celesteela, and then he got a cliffable round 2 because coaches in PSL are just dumb. But anyway, yeah, that just ended up being stupid good, and yeah, that just kind of carried him through, at least in the playoff phases. There was a Linoon sweep in the semifinals, but yeah, most of it, the thing was that people were invested so much in trying to prep for his FDS score that it would just leave his offense without checks at times, and yeah, that kind of won him the game. But anyway, yeah, enough said about his last season's team. I'm going to talk about his team this season. So he got first pick this season overall as his reward for winning the league last season instead of getting a franchise pick. So he picked Landorus T. Nothing new to say about it. It's considered one of the best mons in the draft format, and not without reason. Good bulk, great ability, fantastic typing, and an extensive move pool, which has got even better with the addition of Defog in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. But I mean, yeah, USUM has been out for a year, about a year, I guess. Yeah, a bit more than a year. So yeah, I don't think I need to say anything new about his move pool at this point. Lando just does Lando things, gets rocks up, defogs them away if necessary. Pivots around with U-turn, hits really hard with that 145 attack stat. Was it 45 or 43? I can't remember. I think it was 45. Yeah, with that 145 attack stat. It also has a good special attack stat of 105. I think if I'm not wrong, yeah, I think it's 105. It's special attack stat, and it has a decent enough special move pool as well. So it can afford to go mixed, which is something that I have often seen a lot of coaches just ignore. So I've seen a lot of players just run Scarf every week in and out, or maybe like defensive every now and then, Fizdef. But this thing can do so much more than that, especially because of that move pool. Like that move pool is fantastic. That's an excellent move pool, like both on the physical side and on the special side. It even has Calm Mind, which a lot of people actually don't know. It has Calm Mind, it does have SD, it has Rock Polish. So yeah, there's a variety of sets you can run with this. So that was his first pick, his tier 1 pick. His second pick, Ryu Nicholas. Okay, let me just go through the team. Let me just go through the entire team, and then I'll break down the mons one by one. So his draft consists of a Landresti, Ryu Nicholas, Amoonguss, Takataka, Fortress, Lickilicky, Megalopony, Comfy, Latias, Gyarados, and Regis. First thing that jumps at me when I look at this team is the number of quad weaknesses in here. Like Lando T, quad weak to Ice, Takataka, quad weak to both fighting and ground, Fortress, quad weak to fire, and Gyarados quad weak to electric. However, I think this may have been an intentional ploy on his part, because at that point, like if Lanoti was his only quad weak mon, every single mon would have been running HP Ice at that point. But by making so many mons quad weak, his opponents are forced to they have to choose between which coverage they want to run. Do they want to run the HP Ice for the Landoti, or the HP Electric for the Gyarados, or the Fighting or Ground for the Stakataka, or the Fire for the Fortress? Especially compromising between HP Fire and HP Ice can be really crucial at times, depending on the matchup. Again, yeah, I just went through Orlando once. Ryu Nicholas, fantastic psychic type, just takes hits very well. Magic Guard is one of the best abilities in the game, along with Regen, which are the two abilities that Ryu Nicholas does have access to. What's his third ability again? I think that's Overcoat. Yeah, and that has its niche as well. So maybe we'll see NARD run it once or twice a season. But anyway, yeah, Terrifying Sweeper with Calm Mind and Recover. Fantastic mon to use under Trick Room, especially with Life Orb, because it has the word like what, 130 special attack stat, 135. I usually don't remember these details all the time. Like for me, Ryu Nicholas is just a bulky sponge. Yeah, 125. Okay, a bit less than what I expected, but anyway, yeah, good enough. Monster's HP stat of 105 or 110 was it? I think it was 110. Yeah, I think it's 110. It is a defense of 75 and a speed def slightly higher if I remember correctly. I think it was like 80, 85, something like that. So yeah, it's fairly bulky on both sides. The only stat that's lacking is speed. However, I think it's to its advantage that it lacks in speed, because that just makes him a very threatening Trick Room mon. Speaking of Trick Room, the other mon on his team that really benefits from Trick Room is the Stakataka, because Stakataka for me at least, it's one of the best standalone Trick Room sweepers that I've ever seen because of Beast Boost. And if you EV it correctly, I don't think it was the EVs, I think it was the IVs. Yeah, I think you had to lower some of the defense IVs. So basically, how Beast Boost work is how the Beast Boost on Stacker works is that if you are running a Stacker with slightly lower defense IVs, so I think it was like 17 or 19. I don't remember the exact figure right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was like 14 or something. But yeah, at that point, with an adamant nature, his attack becomes more than his defense. So every time it nets a KO at that point, it gets a attack raise. So basically, it just snowballs into an all-out sweeper at that point, and it has probably, I think, the second lowest speed in all of the game after Shuckle. So it's practically impossible to outspeed this in the terrain. In Trick Room, because of its low speed. So unless you have like a Mach Punch user in the back, or maybe an Aqua Jet user or Water Shuriken user like Greninja, I don't think you'll be able to pick this off once it gets Trick Room up. Okay, so the other thing that Ryu Nicholas had going for it was the regen ability. However, I do think most weeks Ryu Nicholas will run Magic Guard, because from a mon like Ryu Nicholas, a mon like Ryu Nicholas is really susceptible to getting worn down by toxic damage, and Magic Guard will just completely negate that. However, if he does choose to run regen, it will have another regen partner in the team in Amoonguss, which I think is just one of the most annoying ass Pokemons you can ever face. in this format. Like it just takes so many hits and so well as well. Like I think it's what was his HP stat again? Like 120, 115. Yeah, it was something around that. I think it was 115. Yeah, I think it was 115. And I think it has identical defense stats with the defense and spread stats with Ryu Nicholas, or was it slightly less? Yeah, it was somewhere around those. Yeah, it was somewhere around the 70, 80 mark as well. Again, it has a very low speed, but that doesn't really matter because what it does is it just takes hits. That's all it's meant to do. You take hits, you just pivot in, take the hit, get the fuck out of there, and force a switch. And the thing is that Among Us, for a defensive Pokemon, it forces a lot of switches because you have to at that because once Among Us is in, and unless you have something really dedicated to take the spore from it, you are not really comfortable with an Among Us in on you, because at that point you just basically have to put one of your mons off to sleep, and that hinders your overall plan a lot unless you have some sort of preparation for it, which most teams will often not have because of the number of very very prep specific mons on this team. So for example, the next mon that I'm going to talk about, Fortress, you need to run some sort of fire type coverage for that. Most teams will rely on the HP fire coverage on their offensive mons for this. Great hazard stacker. I think it has all three hazards, or was it just Roma Star that had all three hazards? Let me check. Does this thing get toxic spikes? Let me check. Fortress moves. Yeah, it does get toxic spikes. Yeah. So it has all three forms of hazards. It also gets rapid spin. So that's some fantastic hazard control right there. Excellent physical bulk. It has like 130 defense, I guess, and 70 something in HP. I don't remember its PDF, but it wasn't absolutely pitiful. Like it was like 55 or 60 something like that. Yeah, I think it was in the later 50s, 50, or maybe I'm just going off the cuff with these. So I don't remember. Oh wait, I can just see it here. Wait, let me see. 75 HP, 140 defense, 60 PDF. Yeah. So that's that, and yeah, as I said, Fortress will force a lot of people to bring HP Fire, and if people are bringing HP Fire, that leaves his Landorus T and his Gyarados without a direct super effective move to get hit by. So that can be really beneficial in the long term. Fortress here I think is going to be another fantastic favorite on his team. Just take the hit, Volt Switch out of there, and bring one of his offensive mons to the game. And speaking of his offensive mon, I'm going to skip over Licky. I'm going to come back to Licky because it's still one of my most favorite tier 5 mons. But yeah, for the time being, I'm going to skip over it and move on over to Mega Lopunny. Because yeah, in my opinion, Mega Lopunny is definitely top 3 Megas in draft format. They are so like it just does the same thing every single match. Like click return, click what's the other move? High jump kick. It just does the same fucking thing, and it still does it so well. You know what it's gonna do, but you can really prep for it. Like you can bring your bulky psychics and all, but then they're just one toxic away from being shut down for that entire match. So you just basically predict them to bring in their psychics. You click toxic with your Mega Lopunny, they are put on a timer, and then you just get the Mega Lopunny out of there, wait for that psychic type to die, and then bring your Mega Lopunny in, and then just clean up. One more thing that Mega Lopunny, I really like the Mega Lopunny with the Lando T and the Fortress, because if it's physically bulky Lando T, the slower variant, it can U-turn, it can get a slow U-turn off and bring Mega Lopunny into the picture. Same with same with Fortress, it will always get the slow Volt Switch off and bring the Mega Lopunny onto the play. One more thing that Mega Lopunny does, however, is it forces his opponents to run a lot of Scarfers, because Mega Lopunny has a ridiculous speed stat. It's like 135, I guess. 34 or 35, I'm mixing up here. I think it was 35. Yeah, it was Mega Lopunny is 135, yeah. So yeah, if you're going to outspeed him on with 135 speed, you better run some Scarfers. What running Scarfers will do is it will allow his Reuniclus to set up with stuff like with Calm Mind or Trick Room, depending on the matchup. Because more often than not, you're going to be locked into a Scarf fighting type move to take out the Mega Lopunny, fighting type or psychic type. Both are typings that Reuniclus resist quite well. So Reuniclus can then just set up, either go for the win with a Calm Mind, or get a Trick Room off, get some hits off, and maybe keep the Trick Room for a Stakataka sweep as well. Maybe, who knows. Anyway, yeah, brilliant mon on this team. I really like Mega Lop a lot, especially with the Volturn on this team. I think it's going to serve him really well. Yeah, coming back to the Licky, again, Licky just adds more to the bulk on this team. Like, look at this, Reuniclus, Among Us, Fortress, Licky, this is going to be annoying to fight. this is going to be really annoying to fight. Like a fantastic wish passer and just an expansive move pool, which to be honest most normal types are blessed with. Like if you're a normal type, you do need some help out here because you're not resisting anything on the defensive front. So your stats and your move pool will have to pull a lot of weight, which it does. I was not able to run an offensive set with what's it called, with Licky when I used it in season 4, which was one of my bigger regrets from that season. I probably should have tried it in the last week. But anyway, yeah, that never happened. Would like to see him attempt a belly drum set with this though. I really like to see that happen. Or otherwise, yeah, it does have SD sets and curse sets as well. So who knows, maybe he'll try one of those. But yeah, his main job is basically to be another defensive pivot on his team, and a pivot that can actually support his other defensive mons as well because of what's it called, the wish support. Does this thing get heal bell? I always seem to forget it. I always seem to mix this up. Does this thing get heal bell? I don't think it gets heal bell. Yeah, I don't think it gets heal bell. I'm too lazy to check right now. I don't think it. I'm gonna take a risk on this. Yeah, I don't think it learns heal bell. If I'm wrong, point it out to me in the comment section. But yeah, that's Licky, and then there's this Comfy, which is another mon that forces a lot of prep. For being a tier 4 mon, it forces lots and lots of prep because Carmine Comfy with trash boosted draining kisses, that's just a hell of a cleaner in the lane game. I was not able to use this thing last season very well because I am just not comfortable with Comfy. But I think, yeah, this is the kind of mon that's going to suit Nard really well, especially with the way he used his his Linoon last season, picking up 12 kills with it, albeit all of those came in like bunches of 3 in 4 games. But yeah, I think he is good with priority sweepers. I think that's something that Comfy will help him with. Comfy also gives him another U-turn user and a defogger. So look at his hazard removal right now. That's pretty solid. He has Lando T, he has the Fortress, he has the Comfy, he has the Latias up next. So that's a lot of hazard removal in there. Speaking of Latias is going to be another fantastic little support mon on his team. I prefer Latios for the more immediate power, but then I was not able to use Latios at all properly last season, so I won't be the one to judge him on this. Latias has more of a support aspect to her compared to Latios' immediate power, and I think it's a tad bit easy to set up with Latias as well because of the slightly higher bulk, especially on the special side. So that would help. And it's pretty fast as well, so it's not like it's like one of those passive Carmine, like it's one of those slow Carmine setters like the Reuniclus, which could get stopped by a taunt, because Latias will indeed outspeed most taunt users because of its high 110 speed. Other than that, you can really run it with anything you want, Scarf, Specs, it always puts in work. What the Latis do, even though I don't use them particularly well, but yeah, this is another good addition to his team. Now this Gyarados. This Gyarados is probably the one mon I am a bit, I am not too convinced about this. Like I can see where this comes from because he does not have any conventional setup sweepers on his team, especially nothing that can just increase his speed and attack at the same time. I mean, speed and attacking stats, so maybe like a Quiver sweeper or a Dragon Dance sweeper or a Shift Gear sweeper. I mean, there aren't too many Quiver Dance and Shift Gear sweepers to be honest, and there aren't too many Dragon Dance sweepers either. But anyway, yeah. My point being, he probably picked up the Gyarados as his main sweeper, which I'm not really sure how much is that going to work. But yeah, we will find that out, especially since this thing lacks the Z crystal, which I think Gyarados really relies on in Gen 6. Not Gen 6, fuck, Gen 7. Yeah, I think I would like to see the Z on this, but I can understand where his priorities lay with the Z Landorus and Z Regis, which I think is a really good Z mon, because Regis has a decent pressure attack, and even more importantly, it has very good special coverage moves. So it has Stab Ice Beam, of course, and it has, I think it learns what's it called, Thunderbolt. Yeah, so it basically has Bolt Beam and stuff. Like what was that move that all 3 of those Regis had? Ancient Power. Yeah, right, it had Ancient Power, and it has, does it have Focus Blast? Wait, let me check this. I know practically nothing about this mon. Yeah, Regis. So let me see this things move. Ice Beam, Blizzard, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Earthquake, Earthquake. How much is physical attack again? So it has a physical attack of 50, so I'm not really expecting to see a lot of Earthquakes from this thing. Unless maybe you're facing a Nihilego, in which case you will bring Earthquake. So yeah, it does have Focus Blast and it does have the Flash Cannon, which is pretty cool. It does have stuff like single beam as well, and I think it has some sort of speed boosting move. Yeah, it does have rock polish. Yeah, because all three of the Reggies did, as far as I remember. So yeah, rock polish with a Z-set could act as a good sweeper on this team. So yeah, so overall I really like this team because of both the amount of bulk and the amount of power that this team packs. Like, and his bulky mons are powerful. That's the one fact that I like. Like stuff like the Uniclus. Among Us not that, but yeah, it does have. That's one thing about Among Us that people seem to forget. Both of his attacking stats are like 80 or something, 80, 85. Yeah, that's not too shabby for a defensive mon. Staka again it's a defensive mon that can just turn into a sweeper at a drop of a hat. Fortress I think is like the only passive mon in his team, and even then that can just like. If Nard wants to play it offensively, he can just set up a few layers of hazards and then just boom, and then set up with something like a Gyarados or Landuti or Uniclus and just win the match. Megalopony is not as much of a sweeper as it is a bit of a cleaner. Like it's not. It's not as much of a setup sweeper as much as it just cleans with raw speed and power, which I think it's good to have at least once such option in your team. Again, Comfy, fantastic priority sweeper, Latias. Now, if I have to talk about the weaknesses in this team, I will firstly definitely point towards the number of quad weaknesses on this team, especially with Landuti, with Gyarados, with Staka and Fortress. Obviously, in terms of type weaknesses, let me see. Is there anything glaring here? Let me see. He does have the two psychics, so I guess there is a bit of a dark type weakness, although he does have the Megalopony, and Megalopony just beats most dark types to shit. There's the Comfy, which can always revenge kill a faster dark type, but yeah, defensively, otherwise, nothing really here wants to take a knockoff except maybe Among Us. Yeah, because Among Us doesn't really care for passive recovery with Black Spells because it can just recover everything off. Dark Pearl Sweeper, no, Comfy's gonna stop that. But yeah, unless he's bringing Comfy, his team does have a bit of a fade, dark type weakness. What else is there? How does the team pair up against fighting types? I'd say pretty well because Uniclus just sets up all over them. Lando just pivots out, Comfy revenge kills, Latias does well as well. I don't know. There's something here there was something in this. There's some issue with this team. It's bothering me, but I can't seem to put my finger on it. What is it? Like, I don't know. I probably sound very unconvincing right now because of the way I'm saying this, but it's something off with. Okay, yeah. I think it's a fire type issue with this team. Because looking at his team, his only fire type resists are the Latias and the Gara, of which I'd say only Latias is the proper fire type switching on his team, because it also has roost and recover, so it can take a lot of fire type hits. But if that thing goes down, Gyarados is a bit shaky if you ask me, because his fire type mons are not supposed to run coverage for either Landuti or Uniclus, or not Uniclus, was the other two, the Staka and the Fortress. So basically they can pinpoint down on the Gyarados. So fast fire types, stuff like Infernape, stuff like Blacephalon, they can be a bit worrisome for this team, especially Blacephalon. Blacephalon blows back Latias as well if it's a calm mindset. So that's something that he might have to keep in mind. Although yeah, if it's a calm mindset, it just gets revenge killed by Megalopony at that point. Yeah. Anyway, defensively, however, yeah, I think he does have to keep the fast fire types and dark types in mind. And that, yeah, really solid team, really good draft from Nard. I really like to see what he does with it as the season goes on. How much time have I spent on this one team? Oh, it's 25 minutes already. Fuck me. This is probably going to be a 2-hour vid. Good luck watching this though. So the next team is going to be the Pittsburgh Piplups for Iron, and he is once again gonna go after Coco Lucha because yeah, one failed Coco Lucha attempt is never enough to dissuade someone. So you need another one. So basically, Coco Lucha, nothing new at this point. One sets up the terrain, weakens down most of the others' counters, and then the other sweeps. Then there's the Raconet, Chandelier, Drapion, Archeop, Megascissor, Latios, Gliscor, Raichulola, Vileplume. I like the Drapion pick here because Drapion acts a good, good pursuit trapper for the psychic types that may want to take on the Holucha. He has another pursuit user in Megascissor, which is also something that I appreciate. However, I don't think there's enough mons in here that force the opposing psychic types to come in. Like Holucha, you want Holucha to come in only at the end. You want Holucha to come in one time and you want Holucha to clean up. If you're running with an electric sea, that is, you can definitely run a ton of other sets with Holucha, of course. I think another fighting type on this team would have helped him because that would have forced the opponent to send out their psychic types, and then he could have gotten rid of them with the Drapion and the Mega Scizor, and that would have opened the way up for the Holucha. However, it's not just the psychic types. There's also a bunch of other types Zapdos is like the most proper counter known to it. However, Zapdos does not appreciate a +2 Stone Edge. However, if it's Charty Berry, Zapdos it can take that. So I'm looking into his team for something that can take on a lot on a Zapdos, and the most reliable thing that I see is there's Latios, which in fact does not like to take Signal Beam from Zapdos. However, if a Zapdos facing off against this team, it will be hard pressed for move slots because it'll have to run the electric coverage for the electric stab for the Holucha and the Raquanid. It'll have to run the HPI for the Gliscor. It'll have to run the Heat Wave for Mega Scizor. I think Heat Wave is probably the most skippable move on Zapdos for this team. And the Signal Beam for Latios, most people usually forget about the Signal Beam, but in my opinion, it is one of the most useful coverage moves on Zapdos. But yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about Zapdos when I'm talking about the Coco Lucha team. Maybe it's just reflexes. Maybe it's my defense mechanism after all the trauma I've suffered at the hands of Coco and Lucha on the ladder. I don't know where it is, but anyway, yeah, I'll stop right there with that discussion. He also has this Alolan Raichu, which is an absolute menace to face on Electric Terrain team because yeah, you can just set up one turn with Nasty Plot and then you can't really do anything about it. It just blows away your entire team. I really like the Vileplume pick here. I really like the Vileplume pick here because this thing is going to be such an important pivot on his team. I think even he does not have a clue as to how much of an important mon this thing is going to be on his team. Because this thing just takes up so many hits because and it not only does it take hits, it lasts for a long time because of the what's that move? Because of Strength Sap. It lasts way longer in matches than you expect it to. Really like the Latios here, especially because of the amount of synergy it has with the Coco and the Lucha, at least offensively. So basically, Coco invites in the ground types. Latios is obviously new to ground types. Latios smacks the ground types hard with Ice Beam or just stab Draco. Nothing wants to take a Draco against Steels and Fairy types. A lot of Steels types do not have that much of recovery moves. And weakened steel types are absolutely fantastic for something like SD Mega Scizor or something like SD Drapion as well. I like the Chandelier here because this is going to give him a backup, backup Carper that can clean up games, or Carmine, or just a wall breaker again. Because this thing is going to bring in those water types, and if he can predict that and he can just hard switch into Coco, that'll give him a lot of offensive momentum because he can keep generating that momentum every time. Or the other type of mons that I often see running into Chandler are the bulky normal types. And guess who sets up on bulky normal types? This one right here, Holucha. So I think this really helps him a lot. I'm not really sure about the Raquanid pick. Can't really say I'm on board with that because Raquanid, you use Raquanid as two things. One, it's a bulky wall breaker, a bulky water type wall breaker, and two, it's a web setter. I'm not really sure if I see the utility of webs on this team because it just does not have enough raw power other than maybe the Latios to just rely on webs. And the Chandelier, Chandelier is a good webs abuser as well. The other thing, a good water type wall breaker. Thing is, water type wall breakers help. Thing is, what water type wall breaker? God damn it, I can't pronounce. I think the one thing that it will help against is maybe the grass types. It will bring in the grass types to take the liquidation, and then he can set up with Holucha on the grass types. It'll also bring in other water types, which I guess it can keep weakening down. I'm not really sure because his team does quite well with water types because he has Lucha, not the Lucha, the Coco, uh, the Vileplume, the Latios. I think his team will deal fairly well with the water types. I'm not really sure I'm on board with this Araconite. I think something like Alomula would have been really good here because Alomula, Mega Scizor, Vileplume. I think that would have been a really really good combination of mons because Mega Scizor is weak to just one type, as we all know, is the fire type. Alomomola would have been able to switch into fire types. Alomomola is weak to electric and grass, and those are typings that Vileplume resists quite well. I would like to see a bulky water here, but maybe yeah, maybe Ion will be able to play this much more offensively than what I am thinking right now, and he is going to surprise us all. Oh, okay, I just completely skipped over Archeops, which is also one of his Z users, so I shouldn't be skipping over this. Archeops, I think, I think there's just like a grand total of two Archeops sets which I've ever seen work. One is the lead set, the lead taunt rocks, that one, and the other is like a late game cleaner set with Scarp or maybe rock polish if you're confident enough that it'll be able to last a hit. So yeah, in terms of its hazard and hazard removal, his rock setters are this Archeops, the Gliscor, yeah. Oh yeah, there's just two. Okay. I think he does need a bit more rock setters. In terms of hazard removal, that picture is much better. However, you have the Coco, the Lucha. Although I don't think Lucha should ever run defog unless you're running his Death Lucha. The Archeops itself is a good hazard remover. Mega Scizor is one of the best, no doubt. So is Gliscor. Latios is pretty good. So his hazard removal is quite good. Oh, there's a Drapion as well, and Drapion sets up T-Spikes. T-Spikes would really, really good on this team to whittle down some of the bulkier mons. So yeah, now, but looking at the situation with his what's it called, with his rock setters, I think he can replace the Araquanid with something like a Swampert. Swampert is a bulky water. Swampert has a fair bit of offensive prowess, although yeah, doesn't hit as hard as Araquanid, but it'll also give him another rock setup. And it's a ground type that's immune to electric, and also it's another quad weak mon for him. And this is the kind of Swampert will be the kind of quad weak mon that I think will synergize very well with Mega Scizor and the Gliscor, because at this point, because Mega Scizor and Gliscor, they counter two very different type of mons. Gliscor usually tries to target the ground, like Mega Scizor. Oh, wait, I'm just mixing it up. I'm mixing up everything I want to say right now. It's 1:10 at night. I'm sleepy, but I just felt an urge to do this, so I'm doing this. Anyway, yeah. So Gliscor usually comes in on fighting types. What's the other one? Ground types. Yeah, ground types. That's what I've been wanting to say all along. Ground types. Ground types, and there's one more thing. Buff types on predicted U-turns. Although Mega does that as well. But especially those fighting types and ground types, they can just run Ice Punch and they can just bop it hard. Same with Mega Scizor. If you're expecting Mega Scizor, mostly it's the fairies. It's mostly the fairies who expect Mega Scizor to switch in on them. They can just run HP Fire and they can weaken it hard. With Swampert in the back as well, I think that will support the Mega Scizor Gliscor combination really well. So, in my opinion, that's something he could look at. But yeah, offensively, this team looks really, really good. Offensively, I think this Coco, Lucha, not Araquanid, fuck Araquanid, Shadow, Drapion, offensive SD, Mega Scizor, Latios, this just looks fantastic. Offensively, this thing looks fantastic. Defensively, in terms of typings, I guess there's a bit of a dark type weakness. Oh, okay, so there is a big ghost type weakness that I can see right now. Like, Lucha doesn't take Shadow Balls well, neither does Coco. Araquanid does take them well though, because of its like 130 per def, I guess. Chandler is obviously weak to them. Drapion is the only proper resist. Archeops doesn't take anything. Mega Scizor isn't as good on the special side, and you don't really want to switch into neutral special hits, especially if they're coming off a strong attacker. Latios is weak to them. Gliscor is the same issue with Mega Scizor. You don't want to take you don't want it to take strong special attacks, neutral ones. Aurora Raichu is weak to them. Vileplume, I guess, can take a few here and there, but most of the times you'll be running it as a Fizdef mon. So that's kind of shaky. But then, to be honest, most teams do not fare well against Ghost Tap because of the very few types that resist it. In terms of dark types, I think Drapion is a good switch into knockoff, and Holucha as well if it has consumed its item already. Mega Scizor is a fantastic switch in to knockoff, of course, and so is Gliscor once it has its Toxic Orb activated. I think on that front it does well. Is there any other really glaring weakness on this team right now? I can see this team struggling against electric types, which is quite ironic given this is the team with the electric type, with the best electric type in the game right now. Because yeah, his volt switch switch in is Gliscor, and Gliscor is very vulnerable to HP Ice, so that's something that he'll have to keep playing around all the time. Because if you switch in anything other than Gliscor, the volt switch does go off and you lose a lot of momentum with that. So that's something that he will have to try and deal with. Having said that, no, I think I need to speed this video up now. I think I'll need to go to the other teams a bit faster. How much time have I spent on this? Okay, much less. It's just 35 minutes now. But anyway, yeah. So the next team is a new coach, and it's Blake. I don't know why this god awful username. Like, you can't even pronounce this in one go. It's like H Blake A7. Yeah, I'm digressing. I'll get to the team. So he has a team of Excadrill, O, Incineroar, Heliolisk, Garbodor, Mega Diancie, Landorus I, Shaymin, Uxie, Blastoise. This team looks heavily sand oriented at first sight. It has the Gigalith Excadrill combination, Sandsetta, Sandrush Sweeper, and he also has a very sand oriented wall breaker as well in Sandforce, Lando I. And in my opinion, Sandforce in sand, Landorus I is as good of a wall breaker as a as a Kyurem Black or a Hoopa Unbound, in my opinion, as long as the sand is up. Because yeah, it has a pretty good attack stat. It's like 111, 121, yeah, something like that. 125. Wait, let me just check. I'm sounding like a moon right now. Let me just check. Lando is 125. Yeah, 125 attack stat. It has stuff like it has basically the entire same move pool as Lando T does, but it does not have as good of an ability. However, this ability can be really useful in this sort of team, which will work to its strengths, I think. There's the sneaky little Heliolisk, which can cause a lot of trouble with Sandvale, because yeah, evasion is a tricky thing to handle, because at that point, because if it's in the sand, it's not really in your hand. Like, you don't really control whether you're able to hit that thing or not, unless you have something like, I don't know, Aerial Ace, Smart Strike, but those things are resisted. I don't know why. You Faint Attack. Yeah, that's like the only move that will guarantee hit. Doesn't Vacuum Wave have that same thing as well? I don't know. I don't remember. I'm digressing. Anyway, yeah. So there's that sneaky little Heliolisk as well in there. There's the Incineroar, which I'm not really sure why is it there, because I'm not really sure, because Incineroar you use mostly as a bulky pivot sort of a mon, with utility options like Fake Out and Knock Off. Things that with stuff like Excadrill and Gigalith, they'll mostly invite in the opposing bulky grounds, the bulky waters, bulky grasses, and other than the bulky grasses, I don't really see Incineroar doing a lot to any of those mons. The one mon that does, however, deal with the bulky waters and bulky grounds is this thing right here, Shaymin, which I think was one of the best mons last season. Period. Any tier. Shaymin is just such a good mon, especially in draft, because when you know what matchup you're facing, I think this thing is going to be really crucial for the support of his team, because it's also a ground resist on his team, which his sand core is obviously weak to. I mean, yeah, he does have the Lando I, but then he also has a Mega Diancie, which I think was pretty unnecessary on this team. I don't think Mega Diancie was needed on this team at all, but yeah, maybe he'll just prove me wrong. I mean, yeah, most coaches do prove me wrong anyway on a weekly basis, but yeah, that's for another day. Anyway, yeah, I was talking about the Shaman. Fantastic mon, base hundreds all around. Good defensive typing. I think Pure Grass is a good defensive typing. Takes the earthquakes. Has a good move pool, which is very important here because after Seed Flares per def drop, you can snipe off pretty much anything with the what's it called? Why am I stumbling for words again? What's it called? With stuff like Dazzling Gleams, stuff like Hidden Power, stuff like Psychic, depending on what mon you are attacking. Um, Something that helps with the fine type weakness, which the Excadrill and the Gigalith both have, is the Uxie. I really like Uxie here because it's a slow paper. It's not exactly slow. It has like 90-95 speed, something like that. But yeah, you can run it slow. So it can pivot in, take the hit, get out of there, and bring in the Excadrills. And oh, I did not even talk about Como. Okay, I'll talk about Como now. It can bring the Excadrills, the Como-Os, and the Lando Eyes, Mega Dances into the picture. I like the Blastoise. Good rapid spinner on this team. It's a good water type as well here. I would have probably preferred what's it called what's it called? What's the name? Yeah, Gastrodon. But yeah, this gives him a rapid spinner, so I can definitely understand why he went for Blastoise. What mons did I not discuss? Okay, yeah, the Como. Como is one of my most favorite dragon types in the format, and is just one of my most favorite dragon types in general. However, I'm not really sure where this comes in this team. Because if you look at Como's resist, like it resists stuff like the elemental typings and the dark moves, dark types, what's it called, knockoffs and the U-turns. Talking about the elemental typings, the one crucial elemental typing weakness that I see here is the water weakness. Excadrill, Incineroar, Gigalith, Mega Diancie, Lando T. So that's 5 mons weak to water, and that's more water weakness than you would probably want to have in a team, at least in my opinion. So it probably helps with that, but I don't think Como is ever willing to switch into a Scald head on, unless it's running like Lumberry or it's a special set. Oh yeah, he does have the Heliolisk, which is nice, which is obviously nice because of the dry skin ability. So yeah, that's one mon that's always going to generate him some momentum against the opposing water types. What else is there? There's the Garbudo, which is a good hazard setup. Which I think, yeah, Garbudo. I think that's a good mon on this team because it's a cheap mon. It's another fighting resist, and it will set up a bunch of hazards which can chip down the opponent to the point where Excadrill and Mega Diancie, Lando, all these guys can just clean up. However, defensively though, I think there are issues with this team because, as I said, if you have 5 months weak to water, you are kind of in trouble, especially when you have themed your team around a sand abusing one. What he can do to fix that is, in my opinion, like I don't know, I'm not really like neither am I thinking straight at this point of time. Nor can I like suggest very obvious changes like probably change the mega to for starters, but then it doesn't have another fairy type either, which is an issue. Is there any water fairy which is a mega? There's Tapu Fini, but that's not a mega. Um, I think he can. I think is Primarina taken this time. Who to Primarina? Let me just see. Because I think Primarina can work on this team. Maybe I'm just speaking out of like I'm probably speaking out of my ass right now, but I think Primarina can do some work. So maybe replace like I don't know, like one of his 110 waters, one of his 110 tier fours with something like a Primarina maybe. Basically a fairy. Basically it will give him a fairy type, and it will also give him another water resist, which I think is pretty crucial for his team. And at the same time, he should replace the Mega Dynasty with a different Mega. I'm not really sure which. So, what typing is he missing? I think he's missing something key. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, what is he missing though? I don't know. Let me just go through the megas. Let me just go through the mega. Okay. Oh wait, this looks so different from what I'm used to. This looks ridiculously different. Can you guys even see this properly? I think I'll just move this a bit to the left, and then you guys can probably see this. Yeah. In terms of fairies that will suit him, I think Mega Altaria will be a good fit for him. I think this thing will fit his team quite well. Mega Gardevoir won't be too bad either. Mega Heracross, yeah, it'll give him a water resist. Not a water resist, what am I saying? It'll give him a ground resist. Mega Kang, I'm not too high on this because of the ground weakness. Mega Medi works on every team. Same with Mega Pinsir. Um, Swampert, not on this team. Mega Aero, Mega Aggron, I'm not really sure. Mega Houndoom, yeah, it could work. I'm not sure. I've never seen Mega Houndoom work though, to be honest. Uh, Stuff like Mega Sceptile is probably a no-no from my end. Mega Slowbro, no. What is he missing? Does he have an Ice type? Yeah, that just hit me. Does he have an Ice type? My man here does not have Ice types, and he does not have a lot of good priority either. So he could look at Mega Glalie. Oh, never mind. Mega Glalie is taken. The one more that I was about to suggest. That's sad. I think in terms of fitting with his team, I think Mega Altaria would really do well on this team because it will give him a Dragon type. It will give him what's it called? It'll give him a guaranteed sweeper. It'll give him a more solid fairy type in general than Mega Diancie. I think he'll just fit his team a lot better overall. And then maybe he can replace the combo with some other fighting type. Or yeah, maybe he can replace it with something. Does he have another tier 2? Yeah, maybe he can replace it with something like Heracross, because that's a fighting type that will resist ground type as well, and it will give him a speedy Scarper to rely on as well. So yeah, that's just me. That's just some random thoughts that I have regarding what he can do to his team. Maybe yeah, again, he'll probably make this work, and he'll probably make me chew all my words. But hey, I'm used to that by this point. So yeah, is there anything else that I'm missing here? Electric, like, no, he is pretty well covered in his electrics. What is he weak against? What about this? What about the pesky fairy types? I think, yeah, fairy types will also be a bit of a problem for his team because his fairy type switchings are the Excadrill and the Garbodor, and I don't really see him bringing Garbodor every game. And Excadrill, I don't think he'd want to take more damage on Excadrill than what is absolutely necessary. So if he keeps switching in the Mega Glalie, not the Mega Glalie, yeah, I'm fixated on that more at this point. If he keeps switching the Excadrill mid game and keeps getting weakened down, I think it'll be easy for the opponent to pick it off late game where it's actually going for its main sweep. And his far type doesn't resist fairies either, which is probably something you could look at. Or maybe you could look to get a secondary, what's it called, a secondary steel type as well. Maybe that's something he could try. Overall, yeah, that's my thoughts on this team. Probably did not do a good job with it because of how sleepy I am right now. But I'll hope to do a better job with the next team, which is the Boston BUS, another new coach, Patapek. And he has the newly unbanned Deoxys D and the Floyd Eternal, the Vaporeon, Nidoking, Lycanroc Day, Haunter, Zardex, Scam, Surf, Zerk, and Kecleon. I really like the Kecleon pick here. I don't know why. I just like it. But anyway, yeah. Deoxys D Floety is a good combination. Deoxys D is a really good bulky mon. Just overall, lots of options with it. You can use it as a hazard setter. You can just use it as a defensive pivot, take a hit and get out. You can use it as setup mon with Calm Mind. So basically, like Crocune. Yeah, forget about Crocune. We have Croaxus here, which is going to annoy a lot of teams. run effectively, so which is why you put it in tier 2 instead of tier 1, and also its move pool isn't really the best in the world. So there's that. I really like the Vaporeon pick with the Deoxys and the Floette because of the wish support that it provides and the healer support, which can really help them out a lot. Yeah. Then we move on to his offense, which we see with the Nidoking, the Lycanroc Day, yeah. The Zardex, not the Scam, not the Scam, the Surf and the Zerk. I'm not really sure where to begin with this one. Like, oh, okay. So I did not discuss the speed tiers with any of the earlier mons. Like, yeah, the Kokulucha mon, yeah, it's a Kokulucha team. What do you expect? It's fast. This team, yeah, this again relies on a gimmick though, so I'm not really sure how much of an impact immediate speeds had on his planning. Maybe that's why he did pick up the and say, I don't know. My God, I'm hungry and sleepy as fuck. Ah, God, this is hard. But anyway, yeah, I'm digressing. I like the superior here because of the glare support, which can help out stuff like the Zardex and the Nidoking, and the Fluid Eternal, let's not forget, and the circuitry. I think Glare Surf is going to be a big mon on this team. If he can use it well and he can bring in though he can if he can use this well, especially in terms of his defensive investment, and he can keep bringing in all those fast mons to revenge kill it and then glare them off and just make them slower than his other offensive mons, I think that's going to be the greatest. That is going to do a lot for his team. The circuitry is like I said, it's a nightmare. I don't know if I said it. Why did I say like I said? I said nothing. Yeah, fuck me. Circuitry with Z is just notorious at this point because of Z hypnosis. You get that speed boost and then you set up a tail glow and then you just clean everything in your path. But even other than that, even a simple scarf set can do a lot of work, or a specs vote switch set, which can work against some teams. I did mention a team a little while ago which does have its issues with opposing electric types. So that might be something to keep in mind. But yeah, Zerk is going to work really well with this team. Bulky Zerk would be nice as well because then it can pass off a slow volt switch to get into your faster mons, the Zardexes and the Floette E's. What else is there other than that? The Lycanroc Day is like a good taunt user, I guess. God, I'm sleepy. With the Z move and the record. And SD, it can also be a good sweeper / wall breaker, although I think Lycanroc does completely outclasses it in that role. Haunter with I'm the one who suggested him to pick Haunter, wasn't I? Oh, okay. So basically I asked him to pick up Haunter because it gives him a ground immunity, which is something that he was worried about because Zardex, Zerk, the Nidoking, they were all weak to the ground type. Oh God, I'm sleepy. But anyway, yeah. So that's why I asked him to pick this up. It also gives him new typing. It also gives him the ghost typing, which is something he did not have. And Hunter is another good Scarf Mon alongside the Floette. I think the best way for him to play this game will be just Hazard's offense. Like lead off with the Deoxys D or the Lycanroc or the Scum. Get your Hazards off, sack it, bring in something like the Zardex or the Surf. Either just start pummeling shit or start like glaring them with Surf, slowing them down, and then clean up with something like a Floette E or a Zerk or a Haunter or a Nidoking, something like that. Or you can go the completely opposite route and bring like a stall-ish team with Deoxys D, bulky Floette E, Vaporeon, Skarm, bulky support Surf, and set up Zardex, something like that. But yeah, it will really depend on the teams that he's facing. In terms of hazards, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a lot of hazard options, and he has stuff like toxic spikes and spike setters inside as well. So that's a lot. In terms of his hazard removal, though, it's only the Scam and the Surf. I don't see anything else here, and that's a problem because unlike Flojet, Flojet does not learn defog. And when you are not able to remove Stealth Rocks convincingly, Mega Zardex has issues at that point. Because Zard relies extensively on hazard removal, and if that is not being supplied to it, it can struggle. I really need to see how Pat plays around that. if he even uses Zardex as a setup mod, I don't know, because with the cleaning up power on this team, like with stuff like Floet, Nidoking, Haunter, the Zerk, he can just use this as a wall breaker in the mid game. Just pummel something like, yeah, bring in your water type, bring in it. I'll go for an SD, go for a Thunder Punch and kill it off right there. Maybe you can revenge kill the Zardex, but then the Floety and the Nidoking, they'll just clean off. Anyways, yeah, that's that. Oh, the Kecleon, yeah, I said I like this one and then I didn't say anything about it after that. Kecleon, yeah, it's a good utility mod, that's the thing. You can just plug it into any given matchup to do any given role. And it does very well because of the Protean, of course. So that's that. Is there anything else that's really notable on this team in terms of its qualities? I mean, yeah, it does have Skarm plus Vape plus... I mean, Skarm plus Vape is good until you run into something like Zeraora, because even though it's a physically offensive mon, which Skarm should be able to take, it's an electric type physically offensive mon, which Skarm is not able to take unless it's like Wokanberry counter set. Yeah, that's the one that they takes it on. And his ground type is Nidoking, which unlike his wife, is it his wife or his sister? I don't know. Yeah, unlike his, I'll go with wife for time being. Unlike his wife, it's not the bulkiest thing in the world, and you can beat that down with time. So yeah, this I think is another team that's going to struggle a tad bit against not only electric types but Volturn in general, because of the amount of the very little hazard removal this has, because he'll just have to keep playing on the back foot against a Volturn based team, and that will rack up a lot of chip damage and stuff like guard, Floet. Not the Deoxys doesn't really because Deoxys just plays recover and gets back all the health. The Floet, Zerg, they get chipped down a lot, and that is not something he appreciates. In my opinion, he should probably look for a Rapid Spinner or a Defogger instead of maybe, yeah, it hurts me to say this. It physically hurts me to say this. Maybe instead of the Kecleon or like something is hard here. I'm not really convinced about the Lycanroc Day either. Maybe he could replace this with something like, I don't know, what's a tier 4 hazard remover, like something like Kabutops maybe? I don't know, Kabutops or no, Omastar does not look that now, does it? Yeah, maybe something like Kabutops or maybe something else. Yeah, leave it down below in the comments. I can't think right now. Yeah, in general, I do think he needs a bit more of hazard removal, especially if he's convinced that he wants to run a Zardex on this team. That's my point. So yeah, with that said, I'll move on to another new team, which is the New York Glaceon, coached by YMI Noob, or Wayne, as I like to call him, because calling him Noob or calling him YMI Noob is not something that I'm a very big fan of. Looking at his team though, he has Zygarde 50, Togekiss, Mandibles, Jolteon, Registeel, Illumine, Mega Absol, Mew, Cresselia, Marowak, Alola, Glaceon. Now there's a lot of good mons in here, but I'm not really. But I think there's just mons here who have like overlapping roles. Like for example, a Mew and a Cresselia. Like I'm not really sure why would you even take a Cresselia if you have a Mew in your team. Like I know Cresselia is probably the better mon when it comes to taking hits, but Mew is just the better mon when it comes to doing pretty much everything else. Like yeah, like if you compare them on a basis of like 10 different roles, you will probably do 9 of them better than Cresselia. The one role being like taking hits. Like yeah, but even then, Mew is no slouch at that. It has like 100, 100, 100 in all of its defensive stats. Crest is like 120 each, but yeah, but yeah, it doesn't have anywhere near the move pool of Mew. I feel like there's an issue with the multiple electric weaknesses here as well. I mean, not the multiple electric weaknesses, there's just two, Togekiss and Mandibles. Maybe they're towards the top. Maybe they are towards the top, and that's why I got distracted by that. He did take the Jolteon to try to fix that though, but I'm not really sure if Jolteon is the most reliable answer for that. Maybe a bulky grass. Maybe he can replace this Cresselia with a bulkier grass type. That would help. Lightning Rod Marowak also exists, but it is just inferior to the Rocket variety in my opinion. Yeah, speaking of the Rocket variety, the Rocket one matches up really well with the Zygarde 50 because that thing beats down every fucking mon in this world. Like, look at the stuff that Marowak invites in. It's the bulky waters, mostly the bulky waters. Bulky fires, are there that many of them to begin with? I don't know. Bulky grounds. and the bulky. No, it's never been right inside. What am I talking about? Dragons, I guess, stuff like the Garchoms and stuff. And because of its physical defense, it is able, because it's rather bulky, it will be able to take one hit at least and get off that one big shadow bone, that thick club boosted shadow bone, or the flare blade, which is going to weaken bulky water or bulky ground to the point where they get swept by a DD Zygarde, because Zygarde's counters are a lot of the same things: bulky grounds, bulky water, and bulky grasses as well, which Marowak just tears through completely. Um, I also like the Togekiss on this team because after the Zygarde has done its mini sweep, like if the Zygarde is not able to sweep up completely, Togekiss can just flinch the remaining mons to death. Simple as that. Cresselia is the one mon that I'm really not convinced about on this team. Registeel I like very much on this team. I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe this was the idea behind the Cresselia, like pairing up with the Registeel, because Cress resists everything that the Registeel is weak to other than the fire type. Speaking of fire types, wait a second. Wait a second. This guy seriously does not have a water type? What? Why would you do that? Why would you not have a water type in your team? I mean, that's rough. That's rough. I think he should have a water type in his team. I understand why the Mega Absol is here. It's probably going to be the Wall Breaker, which will allow the Zygarde and the Togekiss and the Jolty to sweep. But I think he should go for a water type. Maybe replace this Mega Absol with something like, I don't know what megas were there. Let me just check. By the way, guys, can you see this? Yeah, I think you can see this. Yeah, it's very much in the middle, so you are able to see this. Let me check the tier list. What is there any water type? Mega Gyarados? No, that thing is gone. Damn. Pinchy, Medi, I'm not really sure. Mega Pert, you don't really have rain on this team, so I'm not sure. Mega Blastoise is taken as well. Mega Houndoom, Mega Slowbro. Mega Slowbro could be an interesting option, on this team. Because of the fact that he obviously wants to have another psychic type on this team with the Cresselia. Maybe he can drop the Cresselia, pick up the Mega Slowbro over the Mega Absol, because they are from the same tier as well, so he won't have to think too much about the points. And replace the Cresselia with a bulky grass type, maybe from tier 2 or below. So what's there in tier 2 grass types? There's Celebi, I remember. Tangles is taken, unfortunately. What else is there? That's not yet picked. There is not a lot of things that are unpicked, to be honest. Oh, wait. Black is this one. Oh, wait. I was reading this all wrong completely. Oh, the format has changed. Shit. So yeah, I'm looking through the megas list again. Mega Gyarados is available. I think that could be a good pick for him. Mega Blastoise is available, which I think actually will be the best pick for him, because it'll give him a Rapid Spinner and a Bulky Water in the same pick. Or he can pick the Mega Slowbro as well if he wants the Bulky Psychic as well. Coming back to the Mega, not the Mega, the Bulky Grass type, which I got a bit bamboozled by the new format. Yeah, Tangrowth is there. Just pick up the bloody Tangrowth. I think Tangrowth plus Mega Slowbro, that will be a really, really annoying regen 4 to deal with. I mean, yeah, of course, Mega Slowbro does not have regen. Regular Slowbro does, but yeah, that's the thing with Mega Slowbro. You will keep it in its regular form for most of the game and only Mega Evolve when you absolutely need to. So that's something that I guess he can do. Other than that, I'm not really sure why you would pick Illumise over Volbeat. No, I don't really get that, especially with stuff like Quick Feet Jolteon. Like, imagine Volbeat, get a Tail Glow off with it, Baton Pass into a Jolteon with a Flame Off, Quick Feet, and then you just sweep everything. Like, yeah, +3 special attack to a doubled speed. What stops you at that point? Nothing. I think this is a bit of a missed opportunity on his part, picking up the Illumise instead of the Volbeat. But yeah, maybe he'll be able to prove me wrong. Glaceon, I think with the Z move, this thing is going to be a nuke. This thing is going to be a nuke and a half, because it has like 130 special attack, if I'm not wrong. Let me check this, because I am often wrong, especially with the evolutions. Is it 110 or 130? Yeah, it is 130. It has decent bulk as well. So this thing is going to be a nuke and a half with Z moves. What about its coverage though? What does it have in the special side? It has the ice type moves. It has Synchronize, which can be interesting, especially if it has to take down a fighting type. What else? Shadow Ball. I mean, yeah. Yeah, it's not the best. Yeah, it's not the best of coverage moves. It has Water Pulse though, and it has Signal Beam. So you never know. You never know. Yeah. However, is this other Z move user as well that I'm not particularly fond of? Maybe it's because I'm way too fond of Z Mew compared to Z Zygarde. Like, yeah, with Z Mew, Zygarde will definitely get one kill every match, minimum. But with Z Mew just sweeps teams. Z Mew just 6-0 teams in certain matchups. With Zygarde, the thing is that I guess he just chose consistency over occasional use, I guess, because with Mew, yeah, I guess he'll be running it bulky most of the times, especially with the team that he has with stuff like the Mandibuzz, Registeel. I guess bulky Mew makes more sense. But if you're going to run bulky Mew, then there's no point in running Cresselia. Unless you're planning to use Mew as an offensive psychic type, I don't think Cresselia makes much sense in the same team. Uh, but yeah, that's that. Offensively, I think this team will revolve around offensive Mew. I think offensive Mew has to do a lot of job here because if you just look at his offense, Zygarde is kind of slow, Togekiss is kind of slow as well. Jolty is fast but isn't that powerful. Mega Absol will also have to put in a lot of work, and Alolan Marowak is just not consistent. It's a lot of power and it's decent bulk, but it's not consistent at all, which is a big problem. Does our Marowak have baton pass? Because if yes, then it can be a decent pivot into the electric types. Let me see. Marowak. Alone Marowak. Yeah, it has decent def. It's usable. It's certainly usable. It's nothing great, but it's usable. Baton pass. Does it learn that? Apparently not. So yeah, so there goes that as well. But I'm fine with the Alola Marowak pick. I think it's going to do a lot of work and will help the Zygarde to sweep. In my opinion, he should look to change these three slots. Maybe the Mew, if he is looking to keep Cresselia, then and he's not looking to use the Mew, then maybe he should change the Mew and get something from Tier 1. What is there in Tier 1? That's not been picked yet. Let me see. Where is Tier 1? Yeah, here it is. Can you guys see this? What I'm looking at right now? Yeah, is the leftmost column. So there's stuff like Zapdos, the Tita, Thundi, Bulu, Manaphy. Manaphy is still there. Oh, Keld is still there, which I think will be even better. What else is there? Card, Jirachi, Heatran, Goth. Yes, mostly. I think he can pick up one of the bulky. I think Manaphy will be really good because it also has stuff like U-turn, which can help his Zygarde and the Alola to get into the match. But I think at that point his team will lack in immediate power other than the Alola because Jolteon isn't that strong, neither is Zygarde, and neither is Togekiss. However, yeah, I think I've rambled on enough on this team. Next, we are moving on to a coach who is returning for the first time since his rather erratic season 4, where he had to drop out after his first game. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna go through this team, which has a Victini, a Bishop, Galvantula, Silvally, Seismitoad, Rotom, Mega Venusaur, Slurpuff, Salamence, Hitmontop. Why do you have to do my boy Hitmontop like this? What the fuck is this? Why did you name it Hitmontop? Hitmontop is my favorite, not my favorite, yeah, it's one of my favorite tier 4s. It's one of my most favorite, it's definitely my favorite Tyrogue evolution, for sure. Fuck you for calling it Hitmontop. Wait, if I have to replace one of these coaches mid-season, I'm going to take Hitmontop and I'm going to show him how it's done. All right, they won't underestimate Hitmontop ever again after I'm done with it. Anyway, yeah, enough of the Hitmontop. And the Ditto to finish it off. So looking at his team, it's basically going to be Webb's offense. Like this team just screams Webb's offense. Like from the Galvantula and the Slurpuff, this is the most obvious Webb's offense team I've seen so far. Thing with Webb's offense is you have to keep up the offensive momentum, which is why I think he has drafted the monster he has. Victini does that all the time. Bishop is arguably the best Webb's abuser of all time. No, wait, I'd give that to Mega Pinsir. Yeah, he could have picked up Mega Pinsir on this team. I think that is a bit of a missed opportunity as well. Mega Pincer on this team would have just ripped everything apart. I think instead of Salamence, Mega Pinchy would have been better here. It's just my opinion, but I sincerely do think that Silvally is going to be a pivot as well, but I'm not really sure about Silvally. I think a dragon like a Haxorus would have been better if he is indeed planning to go all on the webs. Maybe if he's planning some other stuff as well, some bulky stuff with a Toad, the Venusaur, bulky Victini, Silvally, him on top. Yeah, I guess he can. God, he can take the bulky route as well. Um, that's a possibility. There's the Ditto, which invalidates a lot of setup on the opponent's mons, especially if it's the kind of careless setup that invalidate that kind of puts their own team under threat from their own setup mon. So yeah, a good example would be the previous team. What does this team have for a +2 Zygarde, which is faster than his own Zygarde? Just look at this team. Nothing really, except maybe the Illumais can take some hits. Maybe the Crest, but if the Crest is weakened at that point, and if he's not running Illumais in that way, God help him, because no, he is not winning at that point. So yeah, some of the teams are always like not just in this season. Some of the teams are always vulnerable to Ditto, Scarf Ditto especially. Uh, in terms of weaknesses, though, I see a bunch of ground weaknesses to start off with. The Victini, the Bishop, Galvantula is not the greatest. Silvaris depends on the typing. Seismitoad is decent. Rotom is the only immunity. Yeah, it does kind of struggle against Edgequake, to be honest. That is an issue here. Rotom, I'm not sure about the Rotom pick, but maybe yeah, he just did not fancy any other, what's it called, any other electric type in that tier. I'd have picked something like Electivire on this team maybe to go with the webs, but maybe yeah, again, I'm not really sure why did you pick Rotom. You already have the Galvantula, right? I don't know why would you pick the Rotom. I don't know. Maybe it's a defogger for him. Probably the defog. Yeah, probably the defog aspect. He has Silvally, which is a very good defogger. He has the Salamence, which is not a very good defogger, and then he has Hitmontop, which he might not even bring to a lot of matches. So there's that. Kier, from my experience, Kier usually does better with bulky offense balanced teams than he does with offensive teams. But I don't know. Maybe he'll be able to pull this off. Who knows? If you're asking me, however, I think he should change these three picks, make them something else. Maybe replace this with a Mega Pinchy, replace the Silvally with something like a Haxorus. Is Haxorus taken? Is Haxorus taken? Is Haxorus taken? Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Haxo is not taken in this division. So yeah, something like a Haxus there, and then maybe replace the Salamence with better tier one. Something like maybe I don't know, something like Blacephalon. In fact, yeah, because Blacephalon with webs up can be really really threatening to deal with. Uh, Especially because not a lot of teams have counters to that, and with webs up it can actually afford to run stuff like Carmine Z move, so that might be something he would want to look at. um, Although yeah, the moves that I'm suggesting him do kind of leave him open, do kind of leave him vulnerable defensively. Because if I'm replacing Silvally with Haxorus, Mega Venusaur with Mega Pinchy, and Salamence with Blacephalon, I do in fact take away a lot of bulk from his team. Oh wait, why would he ever run Blacephalon? He does have Victini. God, fuck me. Fuck me. Let me see. What typing is he missing here? Gengar? Ghost and Poison? Maybe yeah, Gengar. Z Gengar is a fantastic nuke though. It's not much of a sweeper, but it's a fantastic nuke mon. What else is there that takes advantage of the webs? Katana, I guess. Katana. Yeah, Katana can do well on this team, I think. Card could be a nice option. Is there anything else from tier one? Not the Manaphy, I guess. The Manaphy to some extent. My God. Uh, Tyranitar, Zapdos, not that good. However, yeah. I think if he's willing to go, if he this team like right now, it kind of looks like he is not really sure about his play style with this team, which happens to me a lot when I'm drafting. I'm not really sure what kind of a style I want to go with when I start off with, and then I usually get a better idea as the season goes on, and then I make a bunch of trades and transactions and reach to a close approximation of what I want to actually do with the team. So this is the kind of team that looks a lot like that to me, especially with the way he starts at the top with all this offense and webs, and then from there it kind of descends into a bulky, more balanced sort of team. I really like the Slurpuff pick here, especially if your opponent is running one of those bulky teams, because Slurp just comes in, gets a belly drum off, and gets a bunch of kills at that point. Um, what else? What else is there to discuss? I talked about Ditto. Hitmontov is a very good, consistent defogger. Not a defogger, what am I saying? Rapid spinner, which is something I think he'll need, especially for the Victini and the Salamence. What else? What else? What else? What else is there? Looking at his other hazard removal options, it's not the best. Yeah, Silvally and Rotom practically don't consider Salamence as a defog user, unless you're running the Fizzdev variant with Wish support as well, or maybe just Roost. Yeah, that's it can work as a defogger, but other than that, yeah, I don't really see it working. In terms of hazard setters, Bisharp, Toad, Slurpuff, and Gargantua for webs, and that's it. That is it, which is something that I'm not really a big fan of. Maybe he could get another rock setter or two. But yeah, overall, I think it's a decent team. This team really hinges on how Kier plays with it. Like, I did not mention that fact with my last three coaches because I am not really aware of their playing skills or how they tend to play. I mean, yeah, I'm not aware of the skill level and of their playing style, so I can't really talk about them. With Kier, this team, I feel like it might not suit his play style, but yeah, I'm definitely open to him proving me wrong. And alright, since it's getting quite late at night, I think I'm gonna finish the video with one more team. So I'm basically gonna go over just 7 teams. The last team that I'm gonna go over is probably the most broken draft this season. It's the Sherbrooke Venusaurs last season runner-up, Lord Zoroark, the guy who beat me in the semifinals. And just look at this team. Like, I don't even need to explain why this is broken. Just look at this: Celesteela, Necrozma, Donphan, Shao, Skuntak, Lantern, Kyurem Black, Mega Aerodactyl, Kyurem Black, Sylveon, Masquerade. Look at this FDS. This Celesteela, Kyurem Black, Sylveon. Look at this. Like, this is the stuff nightmares are made of if you're an opponent. Like, unless you have something like an Entei or Darmanitan, like there's not a single mon that breaks through all these. Speaking of Darmanitan and Entei, however, I do realize that this team does have a problem with strong fire types. Like, Donphan takes them on to some extent, Lantern does not take them on too well in spite of his water typing. Um, Mega Arrow takes them on to some extent again because of his rocks weakness. It does not like to switch in on them too often. But yeah, I think it's mostly. But I think this is the kind of team that Zoro is going to really thrive with. Like last season, he showed as well. Bulky offense is his forte, and stuff like Celeste. This team, like Celesteela, Necrozma, the Kyurem Black, this is just fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic with the Sylveon as well, and the Necrozma. My God, how did he get away with this team? I don't know what was Black Division doing. How did he get away with this? Like Stila, Necrozma, that's just Donphan. That's just insane bulk. Add that to Kyurem Black, and that just cuts down a lot of bulk on the opposing team by itself. And then there's the Sylveon, and then he has some really good pivots on his team, the Sarina and the Mienshao. Mienshao forces a lot of switches, especially into psychics and fairy typings, and those are mons that Stila can take advantage of. Or Sylveon can just pass wishes off on them. So that's that. This is Skuntank, which I think was a bit of it was just a bit of a forced buy on his part. I don't think Skuntank does a lot for his team, except maybe the occasional defog here and there. Mascarin is a good pick on his team, I think, because it will set up webs, and yeah, with webs up, Curum Black just becomes 10 times more of a nightmare than it usually is. Because at that point, many of your scarfers are going to end up being slower than that, and that is not a situation you want to find yourself in if you're facing a Curum Black. Masquerade is also a decent, what's it called, a quiver arm sweeper on its own, which with its Z crystal, which it will be holding on this team, I think that's going to boost its sweeping potential even more. Serena will help stuff like the Masquerade, the Mega Arrow, the Curum Black to get in. Me and Shaw as well. There's that. I really like the Lantern pick because it supports the Celesteela very, very well. Like they have almost perfect coverage between them. Like other than Ghost and Dark types, I don't think there's a single typing that hits both of them for neutral damage, or I might be wrong on that. I'm most probably wrong on that. Yeah, there's fighting types as well. Normal types? No, they don't. Yeah, I think those are all. Oh, there's rock types as well. So yeah, there's like four typings that hit both of them for neutral damage. Of them, he has two fantastic fighting resists in Necrozma and Sylveon, both with level recovery options. So there's that. What were the other ones that I was talking about? Ghost and Dark. So he has a Skun tank for that to take on the Ghost and Dark types. He has a Dawn Fan to take on the Rock types. So there's that. So there's a lot of good defensive synergy. However, I do think this team might have a tendency of getting locked up in a defensive playstyle. So he might just be forced onto a back foot too many times with this team because of the way it is with stuff like the Steela, especially if he's running defensive Steela more often, the Dawn Fan and the Sylveon. That point, I think he might just get trapped into a vortex of Wish, Protect, switching out into a Mon, taking the Wish, and then switching back into his Sylveon or his Lantern, and then Volt switching from there. That's a situation I think he would want to avoid because that would make him really predictable. But I don't know, yes, stuff like Celestia is like, you know what Celestia is gonna do is 9 out of 10 times it's just gonna click Leech Seed and then it's gonna go for Protection and then it's gonna annoy you. But you still can't do a lot about it. And that's what I think sets the tier 1 mons apart from their lower tier counterparts. Like, look at Victini. 9 out of 10 times you know it's gonna go for a V create or a strong fart move in general, but there's not a lot you can do about that. It's just gonna go for it. Unless you have a ready-made counter in your team, like a bulky water type or a bulky dragon, you can't really do much about it. I think same thing with Excadrill, especially in sand. Like you know what it's gonna do, it's gonna set up and it's gonna sweep. But there isn't a lot you can do about that. So that's that. Yeah, same with Lando as well. But yeah, I digress. Yeah, Necrozma is a really good mod on this team because again for the fighting resist, and I think with the amount of support this gets, I think calm mindsets become just that more threatening on this team. However, if there's one, I like the Mega Aerodactyl as well because again, just like the Mega Lopunny I talked about earlier, this thing is gonna force in some Scarfers. And if you are forcing Scarfers on against this team, you are allowing stuff like the Necrozma and the Celestial, not necessarily Celestial because Celestial can all only set up with the Totemize, stuff like the Necrozma to set up. And that is something you don't want. A Necrozma that is set up is it's a nightmare. Like Necrozma is one of my most favorite psychic types in the format, and we dropped it down to tier two. I was kinda on the fence with this one because on one hand I do think it's a top 5 tier 2 on its own. It's a borderline tier 1 in my opinion, but yeah, it was never gonna get picked in tier 1, so yeah, I guess it goes to tier 2. But overall I think this is the best draft in PSL this season. I probably did not give a lot of analysis, a lot of detailed analysis on this team. Yeah, if you want further analysis on your team, do hit me up in the DMs or just in PSL chat in general. I'll be more than happy to talk about it, provided I do get the time, which I am running out of right now because I have to sleep because I have work in the morning. So, yeah, with that said, good luck to all the coaches who I have shit on for the last 2 hours. Is it 2 hours yet? No, 1.5 hour, yeah. Who I've shit on for the last 1.5 hours. And yeah, I just did 7 coaches right now. Maybe I'll do 7 more tomorrow, and then 7 more the day after, and then 7 more the day after that. Or I'll just probably not follow this up with any vid at all and leave you guys hanging in the middle, which honestly I think is the more likely outcome. my God, I can't even speak right now. But anyway, yeah, with that, goodbye everyone, and I'll see you next time.